So today I thought what I would do is kind of a review slash overview of all the different glue guns that I have, because I use glue guns an awful lot. You all know this, and hopefully you'll find this useful. One thing that some glue guns have is a high and a low setting. And depending on what you're trying to do, this is going to be useful. Now, the high setting's good because obviously the glue gun melts faster. Now, if you're in a hurry and you just want something glued down, this is good. If you're trying to get a bit more of a texture, this isn't so good. So for example, when I did my masquerade masks, I needed there to be a little bit of texture, I guess. I didn't want the glue gun to be so heated that it just went. The high setting will make sure that the glue heats up and melts faster, but it also means that it flattens out. The low setting means that the glue doesn't melt so fast, and also it does tend to put a bit more strain on your hands. The first glue gun which I'm going to mention is this little mini glue gun that has a high and a low setting, and some of them will come with a little end like this, which is handy because then you can just pop it down on the table. One thing which some glue guns come with is a holster. There's these holsters which I have for the glue guns which I use the most, and that is these. These come with a holster, and you just slot them in and they sit on your desk like that. Now it's good because it means that these, normally when you hang them up and they're still hot, the glue can still leak out, and it means that you can end up with a puddle of hot glue on your desk, which you don't always want. You might want to look into a holster. You can make some. I've seen some very good DIY tutorials on how to make wooden holsters for your glue guns, or you can just get a plate and rest them on a plate while you work. Now these are good if you don't use glue guns very much. If you're going to be using glue guns a lot, these are going to die because they're not designed for industrial use. They're for just small things. So if you don't use a glue gun very often, then you can go ahead and use this. They do come with different glue gun sizes. This is not the normal size for a glue gun stick, but this is the normal size of a glue gun stick. And as you can see, that is the difference in size between the two of them. So yeah, if you're going to get something like this, get a little bit of a backup from eBay. You can get them a lot cheaper on eBay. You can get them on Amazon as well, but they normally tend to be a couple of quid more. So yeah, that is the good thing about this. They're very good if you just need something small. They're very good if you're going to use it occasionally, but not too much. And they're also quite good because they have a very thin nozzle. So if you do want to do something slightly detailed, like one of the masquerade masks that I've done, you can go ahead and use this. The only problem is because the end does kind of squish out the glue gun, so it's not very good for getting a lovely fine little line. On the topic of more industrial use glue guns, this is the next one that I got, and this one is, I think, is a Stanley glue gun. This one I got from Amazon. These use the regular size glue sticks, so there's one already in there, and what you do is you just pop it in the back and you get to use up all of this glue stick. Normally the glue gun sticks don't come that size. Normally they're about this big. These sizes can be annoying because you can go through them very, very fast. So that's the reason why I prefer the longer ones, because then you're not refilling your glue gun every half a minute. Now this one's good because it has a little thing like this which just slots out so you can rest it on the table. It's also got a high and a low setting, which is very useful. And I find that it's a little bit more precise. I think somebody who makes glue guns or something like that, they're probably going to know why, but I've noticed that glue guns with a slightly longer nozzle, they don't tend to kind of flatten out the glue as much. Obviously this also depends on what setting you've got the glue gun on. One drawback that I have with this one is the handle. It can be very, very straining on your wrists. If you're working on something for 1 or 2 hours, going like this, you're going to be going like that a lot. You'll have very strong hands by the end of it, but they will also do your knuckles in, which is the reason why I prefer these. Now I have 2 of these glue guns, and the handle is just much more pleasant to use. It has a on and an off setting, which is very useful, so I can just have it slotted on the desk in the holster and I can just turn it on and off. And it also has interchangeable nozzles. Now this is a thick nozzle, but I have another glue gun. Now the other thing is that this doesn't have a high and a low setting. They have 2 different guns. There's one which is on a low setting, which is this one, and then I have one which is on a high setting, and I just need to take it out of the holster. This is the other one that I have, which is a hot melt, so it melts a lot faster. Now I have this one with a fine point, and it's really, really fine, so it's very good for detailed stuff, which I'm sure you've seen in some of my tutorials. Again, it's also got the on and the off thing, and when you turn it on, the light goes on so you can see that it's on. Now I prefer these just because they're a lot more comfortable to use. They're a lot more comfortable to use. They come with holsters, so I can just pop it in once I'm done, and it just sits like that on my desk. And out of all of the glue guns I have, these are my favourites. The main reason being is that the handle is just a lot more comfortable to use. This one is useful because it has the hot and the high and the low function on one gun, but the handle really does my knuckles in. I think the handle of this one, it's nice, but it's not as comfortable as this one. I mean, it's nice, but it's just not as comfortable, and you really have to squeeze on this one. This one is just so much easier. And I like the fact that it has an interchangeable nozzle, so if you want the very pointed nozzle, you can take it off, you unscrew it, and then you can pop it on this one. So they do have changeable nozzles. So out of the 4 that I've shown you, I prefer these. Now I can't remember the prices of these. I will have a list on my blog post of where you can get these and the prices, because depending on what you're looking for, you're going to prefer one over the other. I think a lot of people who just want a glue gun for small projects, you're probably going to want to go for something like this. But if you're looking to use a glue gun a lot more industrially, then you're going to want something like this, or you're going to want the Stanley glue gun. It all depends on what you want. And another reason why I prefer these is that these feel a lot sturdier. This one, it's sturdy, but it doesn't feel as sturdy. This one feels a lot more solidly built. And I just get the impression, I've used these a lot. I also used this one a lot before I had these sent to me. And it holds up very well, but I prefer these. So out of the 4 of them, these are the winners. You can probably get away with a low melt. I prefer the high melt. One thing that you can do though for high melt, if you want something which is going to melt quickly but you don't want the glue to melt so fast that it just squashes out, is try and hold it up a little bit so it has time to cool down before it falls down. The only problem is that you have to be quite accurate with this. It can be very easy for your hand to shake, which is another reason why I prefer this one, because it's so easy to pull the handle and there isn't that much strain on your hand. With this one, my hands shake because they're pulling so hard on the handle for the glue gun to go through that my hands wobble a little bit, and I have shaky hands as it is. So I don't have that problem with these guns, which is why I prefer them. Now what I've done is, on my blog, I've listed where you can get these, I've listed the prices, and I've kind of written out a brief overview of the pros and cons. So if you want, you can go ahead on my blog and check out all of that. And if you're looking at a glue gun, then hopefully this review will have helped you, and I will have a new video for you next week.